Um, One specific question, because let's get back to the Warhammer series and
Okay, the serious stuff. Yeah,
yeah, the serious stuff. I want you to share some story where you felt you had this significant impact through your work. And why I mentioned the Warhammer 40K, because I don't know if you know or not, but in the field who actually, I'm saying this like preaching the Warhammer to the mass audience is like 3 people that I know. The first one is Henry Cavill, because the second one is you. And the third one is Siama Peterson, who made the Astartes trailer.
Which is amazing. Yeah. And now was hired by CW.
He was hired by them. Yeah, and he did all that stuff by his own.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's a phenomenal thing, and it brings like a new breath to the series, because not a lot of people know the Warhammer series as much as the geeks do, because there are a lot of stuff, and you need to learn, you need to read to get into the point where you can actually understand it.
Yeah.
But for example, because of your shorts, a lot of people start to get to the point and understand what is going on in the books, for example. Because
or hopefully they're at least curious. Yeah. They're like, what the hell are they talking about? Yeah.
At least they're curious, especially like, how did you voice line the Horus? It's an astonishing stuff, to be honest. And the point is, like, when people start to read it or getting these kind of quotes where like they can directly associate with, for example, with Stoicism, because there are a lot of quotes in Warhammer and like directly relate to the Stoicism or Bible or something else. Because of these things, you made the series a new birth. So the question is, do you feel that impact or not?
No, I'm completely oblivious to everything. I just phone it in, mate, to be honest. It's all AI. Hilarious. I mean, sure. But I mean, that's what attracts me to the writing of those characters. I mean, is all of those, it wrestles with all of the big questions in one way or the other. I mean, obviously all of the Primarchs have their daddy issues. And that extends throughout all of the space, that they've all got their daddy issues. So that's okay. That's a thing that, people need to work through. They need to work through it, and that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I mean, what I love about that, these hugely fantastical worlds and things like that is that, it does provide, without becoming too much about kind of like a wanky cliche, but a mirror for us to understand our own worlds and our own motivations and all of that kind of stuff. And, is the Emperor a good thing or a bad thing? And he says he's not holy, but at the same time, he has quite a lot of worshippers going on, and all of those different kind of things, and that level of kind of like ambiguity. And, that's what I think is such a testament to the work, is that I can pick up something like, Malcador's, journey to the Golden Throne, and that thing of sacrifice, and that thing of like a real relationship, a real strong bond with another person who isn't blood but feels it, and all of those kind of things. And on the one hand, you go like, well, Malcador's probably like hundreds of years old, and you should probably do some kind of, I don't know, weird old man acting. Fair enough, fine. I can't do that necessarily that well, so it's not my kind of like forte. But the kind of the undercurrent of emotions behind it, plus the way it's written, which I would argue is, Dan Abnett doing his finest kind of stuff. Not too many long words in that one. Some of his other speeches, not so much. But, I mean, it has that real emotional heft and weight. And it's always that kind of stuff that I'm going to share. Like, there's a lot of people suggest stuff to me every day. And there's a lot of just do this one line, or just do this, for Cadia, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, there's nothing personal, but why the fuck? Like literally for me, I've got, there's nothing, if it's not artistically interesting, I'm not going to do it. That doesn't mean I'm only going to do stuff that I really, really get on with, because You don't know until you do it to a degree, but there has to be something that grabs me in the work, whether it's a short bit or a long bit. If it's just like, I want to do the voice because it's funny or because it's a good impression, for me personally, not that exciting to do. The closest I've got to that is probably the one that I'm most quote unquote famous / viral for, which is the Gaz called Thraka thing. Yeah, because that's like, yes, a voice changer has been used. That's not my natural voice. Surprise. Though I voiced several orcs like that in one of the Total War games. But, even that, with his speech, what it's actually about, the mindset of having this kind of thing, this other fucker that you go after endlessly. And he's kind of like, it's not exactly kind of Batman, Joker kind of vibes, but it's kind of like your enemy is the reason for your existence and you can't live with them and you can't live without them. That kind of blood sport mentality and thing like that, I find amazing. So that would, plus like he's very different to me, so there's a whole physicality behind it. As a challenge, that's an amazing thing to kind of explore. But if he's just, if it was just a speech going like, I'm a fucking orc and I like killing people, essentially, and nothing more than that, would be less inclined to do it. Because if you want someone to just do a really good orc voice, they're already out there and I'm sure they're great. It's more to do with the actual lore and the relationships that excite me. So sorry for being a bit of a broken record, but that's the stuff that interests me most. Yeah.
What's your favorite Primarch and Legion?
I mean, just like the Emperor, I love all my sons. Well, does he have any favorites? Well, maybe just the Rebute. But even then, fucking hell. I'll say my first one, the one that really got me on board is Lorgar. It's partly because everyone loves to hate him. Great, fantastic. Always love an order. He's a weird piece of shit. But the conversation that he has with Magnus in the first Heretic, and when he's just kind of going like, the level of detail of betrayal that he, when he's kind of unpicking every single aspect of his relationship with his father and all of those kind of things. And, you build up this faith. Yeah, Big Emps has maybe hinted that he's not completely on board with the whole idea, but he's not actually explicitly said, Lorgar, please stop fucking doing that. And then he completely wipes out your city and your people and everything that you've set up too. You're kind of a bit like, fair enough. I can see how I might not necessarily respond to that particularly positively. So I would say that had a really early impression for me in terms of like showing me these people are like superhuman monsters. Even the good guys are terribly dysfunctional at the best of times, I would say. But that kind of like little bit of insight in there was kind of like, oh my God. So for that, Angron has his moments, Corvus, Korax, one of the other kind of longer speeches, we were a mistake, brother. We were all a mistake, that kind of thing. Whenever anybody ever feels in their lives like, seem to be a perennial fuck up in some way, shape or form, there's a universality to that sentiment, in a completely otherworld way, but it's so kind of like grounded. Or, Sanguinius's, thing before the kind of like portal, will you run? Like, I'm not going to fucking judge you if you don't come along with that. All of that kind of thing. It goes on for 7 or 8 fucking minutes, but it's brilliantly written. Are all personal highlights, but it was Lorgar that got me in. So it has to be him and his bald head and his weird tattoos. Yeah.